Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. What? You're good. Tonight we'll be singing from the Binders. We're going to be singing number 85, Faithful Love. Faithful love flowing down from the thorn-covered ground makes me whole, saves my soul, washes whiter than snow. Faithful love comes each year, reaches down, dries each tear, holds my hand when I can stand on my own. Faithful love, from above, came to earth to show the Father's love. And I'll never be the same, for I've seen faithful love face to face, and Jesus is his name. Faithful love is a friend, just when hope seems to end. Welcome face, sweet embrace, tender touch filled with grace. Faithful love, endless power, living flame, Spirit's fire, burning bright in the night, guiding my way. Faithful love, from above, came to earth to show the Father's love. And I'll never be the same, for I've seen faithful love face to face, and Jesus is his name.
Thank you. Lord, we come to thee in prayer. We're thankful for this midweek break in our work week and school week. Come together and pray for you to focus on the things that you want us to do. Us to study tonight, lessons, the hearts and minds to deal with. Let's take it and be the example. Father, the example that you give us. Mindful of Donna and saying every day as they continue to struggle with health problems. Be of those caring for and other members of the issue. Thankful for so many blessings that you give us. Our health, strength, and happy acting. We also have members temporary on this issue. We look forward to one day being heaven. Just thank you.
Thanks, John. Just a few announcements this evening before we go to our classes here. Some of the people traveling, the Pettises are back. Good to have them come back. And I was talking to Brad. He's happy to be back and back sleeping in his own bed. Cadles are out of town today and also on Sunday, so they'll be back after that. Austin's traveling for work. Coons is leaving for some travels later this week. Prayers for Renee and her pain issues, and Avery. For any updates we have on those, just please let me know. Birthdays, tonight will be the last night you'll be able to say happy birthday to London in person because they're getting ready to travel. So her birthday is next Thursday, the 23rd. So happy birthday to her. And then we have a few on the end of the month here that I'll announce later. Remember, we check in on Light Post app for updates, cleaning, and the Lord's Supper duties. Back there, check to make sure there's any dates that can be filled in. Men's meeting is 2 weeks from Sunday, August 2nd. Keep that in mind. A youth gathering is September 12th. Theme is teens and technology. Decatur Township meeting, August 7th through the 9th with Jonathan Caldwell. Anything that I have not got to or mentioned, please get them back to me. I'll be pinch hitting for the Cadle for Aaron on Sunday. Any updates? Okay, kids all go to your classes. Adults, move over here.
Play rock, paper, scissors to see if everybody moved over there, or since more people were over there, everybody had to move over here. But Mike made the call, so you have to blame him if it doesn't suit you. So Jesse said that you guys got kind of into chapter 13 of Genesis, and that we could probably get away with doing a quick recap and then moving into chapter 14. So that's what we'll plan on doing. So somebody just kind of remind me what happened in chapter 13 of Genesis.
Abraham and Abram.
Yeah, Abram, not Abraham yet. That's right.
So prosperous that the herdsmen started to struggle with conflict because there wasn't enough room. So Abram said, "Hey, we've got plenty of land around us. Whichever direction you decide to take or go, I will go in the other direction. And because we're family, we shouldn't be quarreling."
Good. Anything else stand out to you that you want to point out? Anybody else want to point out something? Yeah, Spivey.
Lot to the land went the best, which is okay. Abram gave him the option.
Yep.
But it also talked about he settled in Sodom, which was considered to be a very good decision.
Right. Good.
Abraham continued to wander, but then he settled there. Hebron.
Yeah, Hebron. Yep.
So he came to Wonderland, but he also had to have a renewal of the promises to him. So.
Good.
Lot also traveled east, which is the same direction that Cain went.
Yeah.
And just generally speaking, in the Bible, when someone goes east, it's usually not good.
Right. Good. Yeah. Yep. Good. What else?
God kind of reestablishes or restates the covenant.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, this is where you're standing, more of the southeast and west, I'm going to give you this land.
Good.
And
he talks again about making his descendants like the dust of the earth.
Yes, good. So yeah, a little reiterating chapter 12 where he said, I'm gonna, make you into a great nation and give you land. And now he's saying, kind of reiterating that, reconfirming that. Good. Yeah.
Contrast because for, you had the Noah coming off there and just his family was there and they were going to repopulate the earth. Where they came from and where they are now, and how they're doing this. It seems like a short time with us because we're reading the chapters here as we go, but it's just crazy how it goes from this. Now they're talking about they don't have enough room, they got to split up the people, and this is where we are now.
Yeah, good. Yep. Do you have something?
I was just gonna say, it was also noted that it basically just said Lot went to the east. But it said Abram went by the oaks of Mamre, by Hebron, and he made an altar to the Lord.
Okay.
So it was just bringing back the focus that Abram has towards the Lord.
Okay, good, yeah. Okay, so couple things that kind of stood out to me when it comes to like thematic I guess themes in the book. This idea of choosing by faith, living by faith and not by sight. So it's interesting that it says both Lot and Abram both lifted their eyes, but Lot lifted his eyes and he looked and he saw what looked like on paper was a really good decision. Like, hey, this looks really good, and the land should be good. I mean, who wouldn't, if you had a livestock and you're looking around, who would not choose the lush looking portion of the land to travel to, right? I've also heard that God said, or Abram says, if you go left, I'll go right, and if you go right, I'll go left. And Lot's like, I'm going straight ahead. Almost like this to reinforce this idea that, we're looking and, I'm offered left or right, but over there, actually, I'm going to take door number 3 because that looks the most promising. So he chose by sight. And then God tells Abram to lift his eyes, and God tells him, God gives him his blessing, right? And says, reiterates that. And so we'll kind of lead into that. Yeah, so anything else you want to point out? And we'll start in verse 14 and kind of lead into chapter 14. Okay, so starting in chapter 13, verse 14, it says, The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had parted from him, Look around from where you are to the north and south, to the east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could also be counted. Go, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. So Abram went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. There he built an altar to the Lord. So, what visions does that conjure up for you?
Honestly, it sounds like it explains everything that Lot went towards, but it doesn't sound like Abram's section is all that bad. Sometimes you think it's either good or it's bad.
Right.
But in this part, it maybe was what looked better, but this was best and better.
Yeah,
But
right, yeah.
It still sounds like the oaks of Mamre sound lush and like shade, and so it still sounds like it could be a really good life too.
Yep, good, yep. Yeah, so I do think it seems like there might be a little bit of a contrast here from what Lot chose for himself versus what God blessed Abraham with, or Abraham with. It's like Lot chose the best, and Abram said, "You pick first." Like he deferred, and he was going to take whatever was left over. And this principle of the last shall be first and the first shall be last really shines through with this choice, even though, again, on paper, it looks like a good decision. And it just conjures up to sometimes on paper, things looked like a really good decision, but then God was like, you know what? I think you're going to do better over here. So yeah, Jesse?
You know, at the beginning of 13, it says, when Abraham had kind of nomadically gone back, and he, verse 4 said, and there Abram worshiped the Lord, and then at the end of 13, there he worshiped the Lord. And so this idea of feeling as if God is totally watching, I don't care what you choose, but I'll take whatever I could provide it for. And he has that sense of worshiping, and the sense that God is providing, protecting, and so that may be very related, just like doesn't care what you choose, I will have enough.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he's reliant on God to give the blessing, not necessarily on looking around and seeing what looks the best. Yeah. So let me ask this question. Why did he build an altar to the Lord? What's that about?
Noah did that after he got off the ark.
Right, yep. Why, okay, why did Noah build an ark? Or an altar, sorry, not an ark, an altar. Why did he build an altar when he got off the ark?
What is it to worship?
Yeah.
I feel like you're looking for something more profound than that.
Well, and maybe I am. Maybe I do have an agenda here. Busted. So, yeah, because I thought when I read that, I was like, why? What's going on here? And then I looked back. I was like, okay, so Noah did this as well. He was rescued from destruction, so he builds an altar. Abram is blessed. He builds an altar. What's going on here? It is interesting that there were clean and unclean animals for Noah. So that implies the cleanliness of it is either safe to eat or safe to sacrifice. And it seems like it's more like it's safe to sacrifice. Like these are animals that you would use for sacrificial ceremonies. Not like, hey, this is a clean animal, you can eat it, but rather this is a clean animal, this is one you would sacrifice. So, but there's no command for Noah to sacrifice or to build an altar. There's no command for Abram to build an altar. And so I just wonder where that's coming from. If there was some instruction or what that looked like.
I just noticed back in Genesis 8, when Noah does it,
It's a pleasing aroma.
When
Yeah.
the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, he said in his heart, I will never curse the ground again.
Right, yeah. So it was a positive thing for God, even though God didn't seem to command it, didn't have an example, didn't have a necessary inference. So that was my agenda, right? It's just interesting that there are lots of things, and so there's also some more things like that where it's like people that are endeavoring to serve the Lord, they sometimes do weird things like build altars. Like when Joshua crosses, they stack these stones, right? And there are certain things when in the Kings, I'm trying to remember who it was, when the half tribe of Manasseh went over, they like built this altar to remind them, and then Israel goes, "What have you done? This is not authorized." And they march over and they're going to destroy them. And they were like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. we're not gonna alter a sacrifice outside of Jerusalem. We just built this up to remind everyone we're part of you. And then they were like, oh, okay. So there was a legitimate reason why they were doing that. So it's just interesting to see because of the kind of the paradigm of, okay, when I read the New Testament, I'm looking for commands, examples, and inferences on what I need to do or what we need to do as a congregation, right? And so are we layering that on top of it? Was that layered in the Old Testament? Was that something that was done? So, yeah, I'm just kind of trying to push back on that a little bit and maybe think a little bit bigger than that. Yeah.
And I think too, like, when Cain and Abel did it at the
Mhm.
beginning, again, we still don't have any record of God explaining how to do it,
Right.
but there was obviously a right way and a wrong way.
That's true.
And so, and one of them pleased him and one of them did not. And yeah, I think we can deduce that that was because of his heart,
Yeah,
but we don't know that for 100% sure. So
exactly.
I think your heart has a lot to do with it, but there's gotta be something we're not told. But
Right. Yeah. Good point.
I love the idea, and probably still a little bit of your thunder bit as we talk about Melchizedek, the same idea, but I think for me, it really helps. I love the line that you're posing here, and just that there seems to be something inherent in creation that wants to worship and kind of instinctively or intuitively knows what might be pleasing.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not all the details, but we are kind of made in that frame of we should be glorifying God. And if you look at Cain and Abel, there was something distinctive about their offering, whether it was heart-based, which I think it was, or whether like just weren't like they were fighting their intuition. And I don't want to read too far into that, but it is really incredible to see what worship was like before we had this law. And I feel like the more that we understand that, the more that I'm starting to realize that law was this provisional thing because we couldn't control ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's distinct from worship in the sense of this is a natural bowing towards God. It's a natural deference to God.
Yeah, and it's a communion too, right? So the offering that they're giving is food, right? That would be food for them, but they're going to let God consume it, and it's almost as if they're saying, "Hey, we want to show our appreciation to give you something that's precious to us, like food that we would eat. Like we don't know that we're gonna have a flock or a herd that we can propagate, but we're going to take this and set it aside and let God consume this part of the meal and have this communion because God has blessed us. God blessed Noah with life and salvation from destruction. Now he's blessing Abraham with this land, and he's saying a promise of a family and this beautiful blessing. And so Abram turns around and has this communion with God, right? And has not the Lord's Supper, but this meal with the God who blessed him and created him. So yeah.
Thought you were gonna say it, but I think he was recognizing too that he was the giver of all good things.
Yes.
So I think you almost said that.
Yes. Yeah. God is promising and giving all these beautiful blessings, and they're turning around and sharing this meal and communing with God to the point where this is going to be completely consumed by God. This through a whole burnt offering. Yeah.
This is, I feel like, one of the last couple of years, I love seeing Jesus before the law.
Yeah.
Like obviously a lot was said in that way for Paul, but man, it's so neat to see Jesus in a different way and before the law.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's really, really interesting. Okay. Anything else kind of leading into chapter 14? Okay. So let's read, let's see, I have it broken out here. I've only got a tiny bit of battery here. Verses 1 through 16 of chapter 14. So, if I could get, Landon, would you mind to read verses 1 through 16 of 14?
In the days of Ampharel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Sherelamir, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim, these kings made war with Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Jeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor. And all these joined forces in the valley of Sidon, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and defeated the Rephaim in Asherah Carnaim, the Zuzim in Ham, the Enim in...
I didn't really mean to give you all these terrible.
No, God.
I wasn't thinking about that. I promise.
And the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as Al-Paran and the border of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En-Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and defeated all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who were dwelling in the Hazanon Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, the king of Bela, that is Zor, went out and they joined battle in the valley of Sidon, with Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Sidon was full of bitumen pits, and
Tar pits, yep.
as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, and the rest fled into the hill country. So the enemy took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions and went their way. They also took Lot, the son of Abram's brother, who was dwelling in Sodom, and hid his possessions and went their way. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, who was living by the oaks of the Mamre, and the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and of Aner. These are the allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, he led forth his trained men, born in his house, 318 of them, and went to pursue as far as Dan. And he divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them and pursued them to Hobah, north of Damascus. Then he brought back all the possessions and also brought back his kinsman Lot with his possessions and the women and the people.
Okay, sorry about that. I should have foreseen that and spared you all the names, but you did well. Somebody summarize that, and you have to list every single name. No, what just happened here in general?
Some tribal warfare going on in the region.
Yep.
And Sodom and Gomorrah is a part of that. And ultimately, they get defeated. And Lot is taken captive.
Okay. So, good. What else jumped out at you?
It says he's now living in Sodom, where before he pitched his tent towards Sodom.
Okay, good. Yep.
Talking about a lot of kings, a lot of battling, they're going on. Abram's reaction was he think about Egypt, and I'm sure he had trust in God that quickly go and rescue his
Nephew.
nephew.
Uh-huh.
Say brother.
Yeah, they're pretty loosey-goosey with the kinfolk terms, yeah.
I feel like there's also a lesson in that for us, because he already had his 318 trained men that he had trained just in case something like this happened. So we never know when our lot is gonna get taken from us, so always be prepared for it.
Oh, good. Is that a pun? Our lot is taken from us? Yeah. Yeah, we'll take the whole lot. I like it. Good. Yeah. What else? What else stood out to you? So what does it say, Landon, that he had 318 trained military guys that were, and where they come from? that were born in his house. So I thought I had a lot of dependents. But yeah, so I think this speaks to how wealthy and vast his wealth was, right? That he had all these men. So that's just the men. So let's say that he had double that of women. So there's 600 people born in his house that are all kind of in his camp and part of his estate, right? So that's pretty vast.
Like, a trained force is probably not 100% of your, usually it's a fractional percent.
Right, yeah. If those are your trained guys, you got to have some schleppers that are just carrying stuff around. Like, hey, you stand here and squirt water in everybody's mouth as they run by, okay? So you got to have all those guys too. And then the blacksmiths and everybody. I mean, I don't know what his whole force, what his whole estate, and like, but that is a tribe. That's a formidable tribe.
But time has passed, and we see what Abram did with his resources that he was blessed with, continued to grow, continued to look out for what God had blessed him with, where Lot had not done the same. I mean, the way I read it, they pretty much were not split 50-50, but it was pretty close.
Right.
And so now we find Lot in the city, not as many resources, because he didn't have any men to defend him in this.
Right.
It was all given to the city.
Yeah.
And he was taken captive with everybody else in the city.
Yeah. So if you kind of derive that, wow, Lot is not doing like tons better. It sounds like he's just got his family and his a few and his livestock, whereas Abram has 300 fighting men. Yeah. So you kind of already see what happens when God blesses you versus when you try and choose what looks like greener pastures, right? And so I think that's a big part of this. Like, who is God with in this, right? Who's walking by faith and who's living by sight, right? Let's see.
I thought verse 10 was really interesting, how he said, the valley of Siddim was full of the tar pits, and as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of them fell of them, and some fled into the hill country. It says kings, so I don't know if that means 2 or if it means 42, but that would be a lot. But the kings fled. They were like, peace out, good luck, hope you're good here.
Right.
I thought that was really interesting that it seems like they left their people and fled.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. And so that's in contrast with Abram, right? Like, when the king saw that they were losing the battle, they tucked tail and ran. When Abram heard that his nephew had been captured, he didn't run away, he ran into the fight. Like, I think with the courage that that would take in order to go toward the danger. So why do you think Abram risked everything for Lot after Lot seems to have chosen pretty quickly, kind of selfishly, the best land?
Maybe he saw him more like a son than a nephew.
Yeah.
Just practical things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jen?
I keep seeing characteristics of God in him,
Yes.
and one characteristic of God is he chases us, even
Excellent. Yeah, great point. And so I think you see a little bit of unconditional love and forgiveness, and not, being unoffendable, right? Like Abram didn't just like, oh, well, see what that got you there, buddy. No, he still sought out and chased after Lot, and becomes the rescuer, right? So yeah, try and, let me challenge you, draw the connections to the gospel here. What connections do you see to the gospel? How could you tie it to that?
It's not to the gospel, but it is frame by frame, almost the same story of Joseph.
Okay.
So, because Joseph and Abram were both wronged in some sort of way, and then by God's blessing showed up to actually benefit more and ended up saving the person overall.
Good. Yeah, you could say that, these people might have meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, right?
Kind of like Jim pointed out, I mean, Jesus came into enemy territory.
Yes.
And even in that enemy territory, lowered himself even more to death on a cross, right? Like, so he just kept pursuing.
Yep. He becomes the rescuer by leaving safety, defeating the enemy, and bringing captives home. Right? Really points beautifully toward Christ. Like he brought back the captives, freed them from the oppression that they were under. Okay, anything else in this section? You really, I think also you see the opposite of the Cain and Abel dilemma. Who's my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? Right? So here, Abram is taking responsibility for his nephew, right? So there's just this idea of trying to bear the responsibility, being your brother's neighbor, like, and your brother's keeper, and looking out for that. Okay, so he recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions together with the women and the other peoples. Let's pick up in verse 17. After Abram returned from defeating Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abram, saying, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hands. Then Abram gave him a tenth of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, With raised hand I have sworn an oath to the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or the strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, I made Abram rich. I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me. To Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them have their share. Okay, so what did you hear? What happened there?
I noticed there's an established priest of the Lord Most High.
Okay. Why is that interesting?
I didn't know that had happened yet.
Right? Me neither. So who appointed Melchizedek as priest? There's no Moses, there's no temple, there's no tabernacle, there's no tent of meeting. None of that has happened. There's been no priesthood established. There's no priestly family. There are no Levites. None of that. But yet we have a priest. Yeah. Spivey?
So, we're focused on the lineage is Christ. That doesn't mean nobody else knows anything about God. We have very little about how others worship God. So here's a good example. So this is me encouraging that others are still trying to follow God. This title is very clear in the plan of God. He's also king and priest.
Yeah.
The parallel to Christ.
Yes.
It's also interesting to me, he brings out bread and wine, parallel to the communion, what we do there.
Excellent.
And he gives a blessing.
Yeah.
So those are all kind of parallels.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. You could sit and meditate on any one of those things. Yeah. Jesse.
You may have mentioned it, but Salem meaning peace,
Yes.
king of peace.
King of Shalom. Yeah.
Jerusalem.
Yep.
City of peace, but we have God talking to man or interacting with man, and this could have been another individual that God, interacted with and said, you are now, in this world. But in any event, so many parallels to Christ here. If we didn't have faith, it'd be uncanny, right? Like there was just.
Yeah.
And I love thinking about Jesus being of the order of Melchizedek.
Yes. Yeah. I was just making sure I had that reference here. That's Hebrews 4, is that right? Hebrews 7, maybe. Yeah, Hebrews 7. Yeah. This Melchizedek was king of Salem and priest of God Most High. He met Abraham returning from the defeat of the kings and blessed him, and Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. First, the name Melchizedek means king of righteousness, right? Then also, king of Salem means king of peace. Without father or mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days or end of life, resembling the Son of God, he remains a priest forever. Just think how great he was. Even the patriarch Abraham gave him a tenth of the plunder. Jesus was after the order of Melchizedek, right? So, a priest and a king, right? Yeah, Jesse.
John kind of called it out, but it's like the Jews thought that they were the spiritual pinnacle. And they were God's chosen. There were other people that God interacted with, and he chose the Jews. You know what I mean? He chose Noah. He chose Abram. He chose Melchizedek. And so this just showcasing that, like, you base your whole entire beliefs off of the law, which is understandable, but God is over everything, and this was in order before the law was even given.
Good.
Most of the first time we see a tithe being done, for Abraham to down to temple everything, and I have a lot of respect for that person. So
Yeah.
hard to believe he didn't already know something about that person.
Right, yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah. Yeah, why does Abram give him a tenth of everything? I have no idea either.
It feels like a shadow.
Yeah, except just to give us a foreshadowing, right, of the Levitical protocol of giving a tithe. And yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, it does feel like this. I'm thinking of, I don't know if you guys probably have not read Miss Bunkle's book, but I'm thinking of the golden boy walking through the town. Like Melchizedek is this golden boy walking through the town playing a flute, and it is Jesus entering the page in Genesis again, right? Let us make man in our image. And what do you know? Here's the guy. What is his blessing? Read through his blessing and kind of think about that. Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. What stands out to you about that?
Abraham doesn't say it directly in terms of giving God credit, but his reaction to that blessing obviously gave God credit.
Yes. Good. Yeah, Jen?
Melchizedek knows who Abraham is to God and who God is to Abraham.
Oh, man. Where did he get that, right? That was revealed to him. Or it is like Jesus disguised as a priestly king that is paid a tithe to. Like, it just, obviously I'm adding that into scripture here, so I wouldn't be so bold as to be dogmatic about that. But man, it just seems like this golden horse, or this shining horse riding through town, and everyone going, "Whoa! Where did he come from? What's that? You know, a unicorn."
It almost feels like he's prophet, priest, and king.
Yeah, he's prophesying a blessing. Yeah, the authority with which he speaks is really interesting. That he could pronounce a blessing on Abram. And that Abram would treat him as greater than he. It's not Melchizedek giving Father Abraham a tithe. No, Father Abraham is the one giving the tithe to Melchizedek.
And I love there in Hebrews where he's like, if it wasn't possible to get perfect through the Levitical, you know what I mean? Like, this is God. This is outside of just where the Jewish nationality.
Yes. Yep. Good. Yep. So, why do you think Abram refuses to give the king of Sodom or refuses to receive from the king of Sodom the bounty that he should have been rightly due from war, right? Why do you think he refuses that?
He doesn't want there to be any confusion as to how God blessed him. He wants everyone to remember that it wasn't because of some king that gave him a sandal or whatever, or strap of anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Lord God Most High who did all this for him.
Yeah, I think it's pretty audacious for the king of Sodom to speak up at all here. Because he just lost everything. He couldn't defend his city. And like Abram should be the one that should get all the spoils of war should go to him. Like he would have the right to even to take everyone and make them his slaves. And the king of Sodom kind of says, you know what, I'll tell you what I'll do. You give me the people and you can have all of the goods. And Abram says, no, I don't want to accept anything belonging to you, not even the thread of a strap of a sandal. So I don't know, knowing what happens in the next few chapters in Sodom kind of makes me wonder if Abram is distancing himself from those people. Like, yeah, we got the Bacons are fighting over They both raised their hand at the same time. It's a glitch in the matrix. All right, you guys duke it out. Ladies first.
Yeah, let's talk about matrix, by the way. But I just, from my reading and from my understanding, I think he's just trying not to dilute the blessing. Because he is willing to give the men who went with him their share. He's like, be generous with them. I don't think he has a problem with it. And then he said with a raised hand, I've sworn the oath to God. I love all to Yahweh, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belong to you. There is a conversation that he had with God. I just, I just think he just didn't want that, his riches to be diluted by, obviously, Melchizedek is a known, amazing human.
Yeah.
People would have known if he came across all this. Like, oh, the king of Salem gave this to you. He had none of that. There was no diluting that. God was the one who made the victory, so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I hadn't thought about that, but I think you're exactly right. This hints at a previous promise that God had made, and maybe it's just the blessings. Like, hey, I'm gonna bless you. You don't have to worry about green pastures. You don't have to worry about any of that. I'm gonna make you like the dust, and your family's gonna be like the dust. I'm gonna bless you, and here Abram is like, hey, look, I don't need a blessing from Sodom because God has blessed me. And actually, I don't want anybody to even think that my blessing came from anywhere else except for from God. So the loyalty and the faith that really portrays is really big. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, that's fine.
So I also feel like there's almost like hope for something that's taking place between God and Abram here. We don't have context for why. We don't know if God said, hey, I don't want you to take anything, give me an oath, or it was him saying, thank you for so much I will not on others. He leads in with that. It's not
Yeah.
So he has a purpose, but there's also that part there he starts out.
Yeah, right. Good. Yeah, Jesse.
I just like that, Abram repeats the title that he got from Melchizedek. It says
Oh,
that
yes.
Most High God, creator of heaven and earth. Maybe it's a coincidence, but it's cool to see that. You see Most High God, Yahweh, up earlier, and it's just this kind of echo of this adoration. But Most High, creator of heaven and earth. You see it back to back.
Yeah. So whether God asks for it or not, he has made a promise that he's going to only accept blessings from God. And here, the greatest blessing is the title that he has for God is the God Most High, Lord, Creator of heaven and earth. So yeah, I think it's got to link back to the creation, like the fact that this is still the beginning, but from the beginning, the Word was there, and here's the Word again, speaking the greatest word that the God Most High, Creator of heaven and earth, made you, Abram, and has delivered your enemies into your hand, and will continue to do that. Anything else on that chapter?
Just as a silly logistics though.
Okay.
The king of Sodom also, he wanted the people because he just left all these people and ran to the hills and left them to die. So
Exactly.
He needed people for his city in order to be king over him, so. That's-
Yeah, right. He needs some taxpayers.
Yeah.
He needs some schleppers, that's right. He has no fighting, man. All he has is schleppers. So. Yeah, I just think it's so audacious for him to make a claim on anything, people or goods or anything. But yeah, now Sodom has to say, well, I am who I am because Abram gave me all that I have. I don't own anything myself because I lost it all to the armies from the west or whatever. And now all I have is because Abram gave me the spoils of his plunder, right? His war. Okay, let me see. I think I have one more like summary here. So, a little comparison here with Abram and Lot. And like we started out with this theme, like walking by faith and not by sight. Lot clearly is walking by sight. Abram's walking by faith. Lot chooses for himself. Abram gives generously while Lot's seeking to receive. Lot is living near Sodom. Abram is distancing himself from Sodom to worship God. Lot is captured by the enemies, and Abram's rescuing people. Lot receives wealth from Sodom, and Abram refuses wealth from Sodom. And Lot is gradually compromised, and Abram is increasingly faithful and blessed. So maybe it's a good idea to kind of ask yourself, what character do you find yourself identifying with most? Are you looking to receive blessings, or are you trying to live a blessed life where you are being a blessing to others because of your situation with God? So, yeah. Anything else? All right. Thanks. Good discussion. We'll see you guys Sunday.